The Boston Bruins came out here in Game 1 and showed the Toronto Maple Leafs who are the boss and who are going to be controlling this series. This game was absolutely everything we wanted to see from this Boston Bruins team. The physicality was there. This looked like a whole new team from what we had seen in the last bit of the regular season. So I'm going to be taking a look here in this video at the game. Who were the real winners of this game outside of the Boston Bruins, the players in specific, and everything along those lines? And are the Toronto Maple Leafs collapsing? What are we seeing from this team, and mainly Sheldon Keefe? So I'll be taking a look at all of that here in this video. Before we do, we notice that 81% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to stay up to date with all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. I'm keeping you guys up to date all throughout these playoffs and heading into the offseason, so make sure to hit that sub button if you want to stay up to date with everything this Boston Bruins team has to offer. But let's take a look at it. The Boston Bruins swarmed the Maple Leafs here in this game, and honestly, this was something that I was just in shock watching this game. You know, the Bruins were doing everything right. Everything was going their way. It was just such a beautiful game to see for this Boston Bruins team. I'm going to pull up the box score. I'm sure as many of you know, this was a game that everybody was playing well, playing as a team. We've seen the fourth line go out there and get the first goal. Pat Maroon, although he looked very, very slow, he was really the guy on the bench from what we've seen with Jim Montgomery, saying that he's keeping the energy up. He's filling in that Nick Foligno role that they're missing out on. And the box score here, you can see just about everybody is getting involved here in this game on a positive note. Brandon Carlo with a goal. Jake DeBrusk, the playoff performer. 2 goals, 1 assist. Trent Frederic getting a goal. Johnny Beecher, the best game I will say he played as a Bruin so far in his career. Brad Marchand, 2 assists, seeming healthy. Pat Maroon, David Pastrnak netting 1 assist as well. And we cannot forget the man at the bottom, getting us that goalie hug, Jeremy Swayman. Still continuing to really excel this team against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And like I said, the goalie hug is what we want to see, especially here in these playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And like I can't even get over it. Like I said, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot in this video solely because I have no words for how happy I was to see this type of game in Game 1. Really starting off on an excellent foot, really propelling this team to being a team that we want to see in these playoffs against all odds compared to everybody who is judging this team heading into the playoffs. But I'm going to pull up the stat sheet here as usual. You know, I'll say numbers. Easiest way to say it, all over the place, but the top was very, very good. Hampus Lindholm, Brandon Carlo, Jake DeBrusk. 3 of those guys were definitely 3 of the top performers on this team. You can't count out everybody here on this team, however, you know, so many people played good. And I'm not even going to put into consideration the negatives we see there on the bottom from Shattenkirk, Peak, Zacha, because this whole team made up for those negatives here, as playing as a team and what we've seen for this whole game. And I'm just very pleased to see what we saw here in Game 1. And tomorrow is going to be a very interesting one to see what can happen here, moving in to likely William Nylander returning, to see what adjustments Toronto's going to make, to see what adjustments Boston is going to make, and what they end up doing with their goalie. But we definitely seen a very different Boston Bruins team here compared to what we had seen going out in the regular season. We've seen the energy being up, the physicality being up. Everybody was stepping up, and everybody was playing the role they exactly needed to play. And I have this here from Fluto Shinzawa. Like I said, Jim Montgomery said this after the Game 1 post-game press conference. He said it's hard to go away from Jeremy Swayman after what we had seen in this game. And that is the case. And I see a lot of people replying to this tweet from Fluto Shinzawa saying that you got to keep on going with the rotation and everything. You got to keep on sticking with Swayman after what we had seen here in this game. And I'm not going to touch too much on it because I think whatever they're doing, whatever they've done, will work. You know, this game, if they continue to play this way, the goaltending, no matter who's in, I trust both heavily as a goalie myself. I know the situation they're in, and I can absolutely see both goalies here coming out and playing well. But I like the idea of sticking with Jeremy Swayman this next game. If he loses, go to Ullmark. You know, you don't want to get Ullmark too cold on the bench, and you don't want to give Jeremy Swayman too many games in a row, since he hasn't in the regular season, and, you know, simply for that fact. So, I think that's going to be what they might do. I hope that's what they do, but either way, I think I'm going to be happy, because what we had seen here in this game really helped the goaltending, even though the Maple Leafs offense was still there, still present, and still very, very dangerous in this game, although it didn't make too much of a difference here, as Boston was playing such an incredible game. But Connor Ryan has also tweeted this, another great example to show how different this team really has been since the regular season. 100 total hits between the Bruins and Maple Leafs tonight, and it was a split evenly down the middle, 50 for Boston, 50 Toronto, and this was definitely a Boston-Toronto playoff series. The physicality was there. Pat Maroon starting it off hot and putting, I believe it was Timothy Liljegren into the bench, and like that whole game was such a nice sight to see after not seeing the Bruins be as physical as they could have been, as physical as they wanted to be all season. And I don't think Toronto expected that. I really think that caught Toronto off guard and kind of made them a bit nervous to go in the ice, across the ice, down the wing and whatnot. So I think they were being hesitant about the Bruins' physicality in this game, and they were trying to deal it back. But the Bruins were really, really on top of their game here. They did exactly what they needed to do. Pat Maroon, Brad Marchand, getting in the heads of some of these Toronto Maple Leafs players, and it's kind of making me think, are the Leafs collapsing? I know it's very early to say anything. I don't want to jinx anything, but Sheldon Keefe seemed to have a lot of nothing to say after the game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and all of the players on the Maple Leafs. You've seen the frustration brewing from early on. There's a difference between physicality and taking penalties, and we've seen a lot of penalties coming from this Maple Leafs team. Max Domi, just as one as an example, that slash. There's no need for that, and it's really a good thing to see from Boston Bruins standpoint that this team is frustrated. This team really is frustrated going into Game 2 and at the end of Game 1 after the loss they had suffered. So I think the Bruins have the upper hand here, and we've seen the Maple Leafs trying to take the puck after the game, trying to do whatever they can to just annoy the Bruins even more, but the Bruins have been perfectly fine on this aspect. They haven't felt the pressure so far from what it seemed like. We've seen everybody on this team holding their heads high, playing exactly where they need to, what they need to do. And this is what Sheldon Keefe had to say after this game from Connor Ryan. We didn't handle it very well tonight. Certainly missed him. This is based on Nylander. He added that Nylander's absence didn't change that the Leafs were knocked for bad penalties and defensive zone breakdowns. But once again, kind of putting that on William Nylander for not being here in this game. And I really don't think William Nylander would have changed this defensive zone stuff for the Maple Leafs really at all. William Nylander is not known for a defensive guy, and what we've seen here from this Bruins team against the Maple Leafs is something that I am so excited to see going into Game 2, what this team can do. We've seen TD Gardens on wheels try to get this team going, and they absolutely did from both ends. The Maple Leafs couldn't handle it. The Bruins kept on getting the energy. So Game 2 tomorrow night. I will likely, I'm not going to say certainly, but I think I'm going to be live streaming before the game, so if you want to pop in, talk about the game a bit, make sure to do so if I am live. But that's all I got for this video. Did enjoy, make sure to give the video a like, make sure to hit the sub button as well if you do want to stay up to date in this playoff run with the Boston Bruins. But like I said, that's all I got. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.